If I click here, it should be louder.
Yeah.
Well, because if we do it once and then it's fucked up, then it's fucked up.
You're gonna do it first.
What would you do? Throw down some beats and Ray Charles was like...
I just watch him play. Hallelujah! I knew this question was coming up, so I've actually written down a list on my phone.
I'm Josh.
What?
He's...
I'm Oscar Wilde in that sense.
No, we're CounterProductive. I'm Oscar Wilde. This is my man Zest.
I'm Zest.
Yes. And we're here to blow your minds.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Thank you for your patience.
People. And then the other end, you've kind of got like, you've got full moon partiers, people kind of on gap year, traveling, lots of drinking, just going crazy, going wild.
But who needs reminded? So let's get
There's a lot of house music here, there's a lot of techno music here, but I really wanted to bring more of the hip-hop that we love and all of the things that have inspired the hip-hop that we love, like the funk and soul and jazz, disco, and then more into electronic music. You know, you kind of got like your kind of Flying Lotus-esque beats and all sorts of interesting sort of delicacies.
The UK sound, that really nice bassy sound, is not so much here.
Yeah.
And like breaks, it's not really a thing here. I was playing some at the DJ set the other week and it really blew up because people are like, what is this? What are you playing right now? Because they're not really used to that sound. So I think there is a space in the market for kind of more of a UK feel as well, which is exciting because we got a lot of that.
peace and welcome to the EP. Yo.
Yeah, I think we just released an EP, didn't we?
You just released it.
Oh yeah, we released an EP.
Yeah.
It's called, well, maybe we should introduce kind of like the group. There's two of us, mainly. And he does most of the production. I do a little bit of the production and I do all of the rapping. Like, unless you feel like stepping behind the mic anytime soon.
You never say never.
Never say never.
The EP is called A Funky Kind of Vibrance and it's 4 tracks. We've been working on it for how long, Josh?
The second song, called Half Lotus, I wrote the first section of the lyrics for them in university about 10 years ago.
So yeah, it's been really a labour of love and something that's we've been working on for a long time. We're so happy to finally have it polished and put it out there.
Most of the work went on inside the last 2 years, with the productions coming through, because those lyrics which I wrote, they kind of sat and gathered dust for a while. I stuck on some more bits at the end, and then you came up with that beat. I think it was in Mexico last year.
Which one?
Half Lotus.
Oh yeah.
Also, Powdered Snow was around the same
Snow was
time.
around, yeah.
The only song that was written in Thailand completely was in Scenery Rocks, and I think you can hear it.
Yeah, it's got a
The style
different
is different.
Yeah.
And the first song, Dorondo Says Hello, is actually one of my productions, which my man here lovingly polished off.
Oh yeah.
And
That was a lot of fun.
So I think you can hear more of my sound in that, which is a bit more of the sample choppy madness.
Soulful.
Soulful vibes, or that kind of lush feel. My name's Zest, after all.
I think it was just the right time. After a while, I think every musician, certainly for me, I got to a point where I don't want to just keep messing around with things, and people say, oh, when's it coming out, when are you going to put something out, and I'll be like, oh, soon, I'm not happy with it. At some point, it's nice to actually finish things off and to be able to have a completed piece of work. And so, yeah, this just seems like the right time to do that.
I wouldn't necessarily say that it was any place. It just had to happen. And this is as great a place as any. It's a great place, in fact. And we've got the hardware now, we've got the kit, we've got the space for it. And
yeah, we've been putting together a little studio here on the island.
A little bit.
Yeah, we've got a good little crew of people here. We jam every Monday. We did one Wildside Live thing recently, and that's something that we're looking to expand as the lockdown limitations decrease and there's a bit more travel and more movement. But yeah, absolutely. I think jamming is like, I mean, it's sacred, isn't it? Like the connections that you form when you're playing music with someone spontaneously and you're connecting on like a higher level.
The first time is always a jam. You always jam it the first time. It's like I think it was Supernatural, I heard say that every rap is a freestyle first. Like it has to come from somewhere. We also have the Wildside podcast. So that's another project which we're working on. I've got an episode coming up after your next one.
Yeah.
And so with that, we'd like to showcase, that's episode 21, which will come out, which we'll record at the live event on the 9th of September. He'll record it, I'll watch. And
Who's gonna play?
On the 9th, it's gonna be me. I'm gonna be opening with a sunset DJ set. We're going to record for the podcast. It's going to be a lot of kind of more lo-fi beats and some kind of more slower, more liquidy, soulful house stuff. Then we're going to roll into your friend, a local Thai musician here.
Yeah, he's called Ring of Chain.
Yeah.
And he's I believe he was a DJ in Bangkok before he moved down here, and he's got a really nice style. So we're excited to share him and showcase him.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing it.
Do you maybe like to collaborate with the Thai musicians?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's something I'd love to do more of. There's not always the most integration between the Thais and the Phalangs like on this island.
Yeah, and I think music is one of those areas that, I mean, of course, it's like sports, it's like art. It just cuts across cultures. So we've got some Thai musicians that we know here that I'm really looking forward to working with. I think it's going to really add a whole dimension to what we're doing here on the island and what we're doing as a brand. Yeah.
And for the community as well, because that's the thing for us about Wildside is that the community aspect of it is so important, the family aspect, and to expand that family further.
Yeah.
To integrate Thai people and also be welcomed into their community more would just be amazing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's Wildside? Well, Wildside was born about 5 years ago now, back when we were both at university, and I felt that there are a lot of brands out there that we're putting out kind of similar types of music, a lot more kind of house based, a lot more kind of electronic. I love house music, I love electronic music, but it didn't have that like soul that I was always looking for in my music when I was writing music. And I think for me and for Josh and for like all of our crew at university, like we were really listening to different sort of sounds, and I felt like there just wasn't a platform for that to be showcased. So I started putting on nights, and I dreamt of the record label. And now, fast forward 5 years later, we're out here in Thailand, and I'm finally able to really put together something incredible, which is it's got three parts. It's a music label, it's an events company, and it's also a lifestyle brand as well, because it's not only about the music and the events, but it's also just about the way that we try and live our lives, and the way that we want to be able to share share living with people, which is like live every day like it's your last, you know, like take every moment and really celebrate it and do something that you love with that time. And that's what I do as much as I can here. That's what Josh does all the time here, and I think that shows in the music that we make, and it shows in the events that we put on. You know, that energy that you only get from doing something that you're passionate about.
What makes you a lead member? Why do you want to open music?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I'll put my hand up and say there's definitely selfish reasons there. I wanted a platform so that I could feel free in my creativity and feel free to write whatever I wanted and not have to worry about, oh, some label is they're not gonna like this or they're gonna want something like that. I feel like if you release your own music, you get like complete creative control, you know?
Absolutely.
You can just put out whatever you think is great, or whatever you love, and see what comes back. And so far it's been like overwhelmingly positive.
You can see it as a community of artists, an umbrella that people can all band under and be a part of.
Yeah, I think particularly stylistically, as I said before, I'm definitely influenced. Both of us are definitely influenced by the greats of, the hip hop greats of the 90s and 2000s. You know, you've got your Jay Dillas and your Biggies and Tupacs and Jurassic 5s and all of the rest of them. And so you've got like that whole kind of vibe. And then there's also all this other music that we really love that have influenced us, like kind of reggae and disco and stuff, and then as you say, the more electronic UK sound as well, more like bass music. And that's just not something that's really brought together at all. So I think there's a really an opportunity for us to kind of curate a sound like that. Yeah. If you could write with any one person, I'm going to hijack your question. If you could collaborate with any musician, mate.
You play with anybody.
With anybody?
Yeah. Ray Charles.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, Ray Charles.
What would you do? Throw down some beats and Ray Charles was like...
I just watch him play. Hallelujah. I just love her so. Yeah.
You feel like having good chemistry there?
I just want to be around him making music. Like I remember our friend Mike and myself would sit in the library at school during sixth form and pretend to study. And we're both sharing headphones with like these new to me Ray Charles songs that I found, and just blowing each other's minds with all of this music. It's like, yeah, he had a massive influence on my ear and what I like to hear, and because a lot of the say music you hear here, the techno, like it can be quite minimal in terms of like melody lines and in terms of vocals, and for me that does it's that kind of like that Otis Redding, that Ella Fitzgerald, the Dinah Washington. Those sounds and the vocal tone that the voice box makes is so unique and so varied, and I need it in my music. I need that or something similar, and what I get from that, like the kind of techno that they play here is not always like that. At the moment I'm really into kind of Latin and Afro fusions with electronic music, like the Busy Twist, for example, and O'Flynn, people like that. I love playing stuff like that, and it really gets people moving, and like in a way that the music without those melody lines doesn't, because it really gets into your soul. And so like everybody has their own thing, and that's cool, but I see the reactions in front of me when I play, and people just get so hyped when you play things with African rhythms and vocal lines, or like Latin guitar or singing. It's really powerful. was coming up, so I've actually written down a list on my phone.
While you're digging it out, I'll go for
first.
like, I don't know, something that's come straight to my mind would be jazz. I mean, jazz is such like a broad genre, and it, you know, I mean, you could almost sort of, it's like modern art, really. You could say anything's jazz. But like my favorite jazz guitarist, for example, is a guy called Wes Montgomery, and he just plays the most insane. But it's beautiful. So like a lot of jazz, you'll find with kind of more of like the hard bebop stuff. It's very technical and incredibly intelligent and skillful and difficult to play, and like super like just way beyond. But the soul's missing. But with Wes Montgomery, not only is he like just incredible skills-wise, he also just writes incredibly beautiful guitar licks that just have like a certain, just this feel to them. You can't. It's indescribable, really. But it's some of the most beautiful guitar I've ever heard in my life. So that'd be like one influence of mine. Yeah. So that's my plug for Wes Montgomery.
I'm sure he'll watch the video. I'm just going to start reeling off names, man. Like, so through my teenage years and onwards, like Kanye West, the soulfulness in his beats always blew my mind. The Roots, Alpha Mist, Otis Redding, Ray Charles, Bob Dylan, the Beatles, Hiatus Coyote, Chet Faker, Madlib, Curtis Mayfield, Gil Scott-Heron, B.B. King, The Tribe.
Yeah, some of my favourite.
The Tribe.
Some of my favourite hip-hop artists.
Radiohead, the Kings of Leon, like their older stuff was just, like Erykah Badu, DJ Cozy, Jimi Hendrix, Fat Freddy's Drop, Pink Floyd Quartet. Like the variety that we were exposed to as kids was just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And partially that was our friend group and that we went looking for these things, but partially it was just in the air.
Yeah.
And also from the UK, we're so blessed to have things like trip hop.
Yes.
Many other countries just won't even. I'm sure they might have heard of Massive Attack, but they've probably heard of Glory Box by Portishead. But like, have they heard Tricky? You know? She has, but she being the lady behind the camera, she doesn't count. She's an outlier. And then also lo-fi. Like later on, when I got into SoundCloud, I didn't really realize what I was doing at the time, but I was basically like just curating this collection of crazy lo-fi tracks in my likes. So like you just play through my likes and it's just almost all lo-fi stuff.
It is something about SoundCloud, isn't it?
Like
It's
Beat
wicked.
Machine Aaron, Philo,
It's
Harris
wicked.
Cole, Blue 70, who you put in the last podcast.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Smov made an M, Flo Phils, Lord Apex. Lord Apex is dope.
He is.
Yeah, Cryo, there's that tune like For Her by Cryo. Oh my god, I can just listen to that on repeat for days. Yeah. And in terms of rap, I guess I should talk about rappers because
As a rapper,
I
you
should
kinda
talk
gotta
about
give some
rappers.
props.
You mentioned a few, but Big L.
Big L's great.
I just want to raise a glass to Big L
Rest in peace, my man.
because, goddamn, that flow was fire.
It was almost like I don't think we could have handled, you know, if Big L was still alive today, everyone would have given up.
Apart from Eminem, because he would never, ever give up. Our lives, our brotherhood has been filled with a number of strange coincidences.
Yes, yeah, we've known each other since we were 5,
Yeah.
if you didn't know.
And we kept on choosing the same things by accident. One more rapper I want to mention is Loyal Connor.
Yeah, but
really-
that album last year was super
it's
inspirational
so
for both
grown.
of us.
It's so like it's a man. You're listening to an emotionally sound man in that album. And I just love the way he integrates his family into it with Florence and with skits from his mum and poetry and I don't know who the older woman is that talks in the last album. I feel like it's his grandma, but I don't know if it actually is. I always decided it was his grandma. Also Anderson .Paak as well. And there's the bunch of like young talent like Tom Misch.
Oh yeah.
Like from the UK, Jordan Rakai from Australia. He's from Australia.
Can we just talk about Big L some more?
I don't know if I'm worthy to talk about Big L anymore. I feel like I should just stick in with Ray Charles and watch them go.
Did you create the music while you had been in New Zealand?
Actually,
I did.
You did, and I was just dipping my toe in. I remember you started to show me Reason.
Yeah, I had Reason, and that was when I was really into dubstep.
And Logic and Reason.
Yeah.
Which is a nice pairing, actually, now that you think about it. I hadn't really put those two together.
Makes a lot of sense, really. I'll show myself out. It's great. It's hard, but it's what I found about traveling is that like each place has its own sound. Each place has its own like thing that's cool, and it can be vastly different depending on where you go. Like in the UK, there was a university, and even now, like disco was like a big force, and then when I went to, so there were disco tracks that you could play in like a kind of underground rave sort of thing that would just absolutely destroy the dance floor, like get everyone completely going. And then I went to America, and then you hear it in Walmart. They're just playing it over. And I think it's some like underground. Oh man, no one knows about this track, and then you just go to their shopping mall, and they're just playing it for everyone. And I'm like, oh man, but
how are they not skanking out in Walmart?
I was a little bit.
Cornflakes flying everywhere.
Like a music video. Oh, that's top secret. That's top secret.
Well, as part of Wildside, there are things I'd like to do. I've suggested that we do, which is take advantage of some of the beautiful scenery here on the island to shoot some really beautiful mixes. Like set people up with a generator and decks, and just take out the drone.
Yeah, people don't really know enough about this island, man. Like, I'd heard about it before I came here. I'd heard like, oh, Koh-Phangan, but I just heard like Koh-Phangan full moon party. But actually, it's just this like wonderful, like super magical, off the scale place with so much natural beauty, so many kind of interesting locations that are just completely remote, but just like not only look good on camera, but just feel incredible to be in. And so yeah, I think shooting from some of them would be
also
really good.
Also the human factor, because you get people like, for example, there's this beach called Zen Beach here, where it's almost a religious ceremony to show up there for sunset every day, and people do acro yoga, and they bring their
drum
fire
circles,
thing, and a drum circle, and their glow poi or whatever it is, and you could definitely just take a crew out and start making beautiful videos.
Yeah, I mean the whole island here is kind of like a film, to be honest.
It is a bit like a film, yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make you the star?
Huh?
Does that make you the star of the film?
Me? I'm but the moon, my friend. But the moon.
But the moon.
I am but the moon. I'll be a star. I'll be one of. There's a lot of stars in the galaxy, man. You know, because there's a lot of music that gets made, right? And most of it is probably not going to be played that much afterwards. But I think what distinguishes those songs that really stand the test of time, and you can play them in 5 years or 10 years or more, is just that like extra amount of love, that extra amount of time that gets put in, where you're listening and you're like, man, you've put so much time into this, and like only a few people are going to hear it potentially. But actually, I think the energy that you put in when you make that 10-minute song with like 3 sections and all this ambient stuff in there, and like all these kind of weird bits that take a lot of time and intricacy, I think that is what people really appreciate feeling in the music and hearing in the music, is that it's not just a song. You're like, section A, section B, section C. It's like the whole thing is alive.
Yeah, this is what makes an artist actually. It doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter. I know for me, like, it doesn't necessarily matter if it's nice when people hear it, but it doesn't matter if anybody hears it, because it's almost like I made it for myself.
Mm-hmm. That was last night.
Was that last night?
Pretty sure.
That was last night. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Time flies on the island.
Yeah, all the days are the same. I don't know what a weekend is, but then I don't know what a week is. So I know that the sun rises and the sun sets.
They definitely have like a whole island time here. Like people just kind of live
Hold
on
on.
the day.
I was trying to talk about that in terms of our creative process,
Oh.
because it's very varied, but I thought that was a really nice example, because we were trying to come up with a beat for some lyrics which I've written called The Island, about here, and we had an original idea and then we scrapped that because the chords didn't really fit the vibe. And so in the end you just then recorded a little, like, just ding, 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 and then we're messing around and you kind of hit on something and I was like, okay, pass that to me. And then I took the guitar and I was like, play it like this. And then I passed it back to him. Then he's like, oh yeah, and then we can do this. And then so this like passing the ball back and forth and I really like it when it's like that.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to work in a team like that. It's really cool. It's really, really nice.
Is it something also about your naming, like CounterProductive? Why you have this name?
The name I came up with at university because Oscar was very productive, or trying to be very productive.
I mean,
and I was like being a proper waste man.
it's very subjective, really.
And so the idea was that I was counter and he's productive.
Depends on the day. I'm gonna say, but that day,
yeah.
I was productive. Yeah.
That one day.
I do my best.
You got a master's. You did all right.
Yes, masters.
Yeah.
Masters in procrastination. But you know what? If you're procrastinating by making music, is it procrastinating? I don't know.
Yeah, dude. We just.
Yeah, it's something.
I used to be glued to the screen. I would just wake up in the morning, like, I don't know, like 9, and I would sit in front of the computer and produce one song.
Just all day
through until like 2 in the morning, and then pass out, and then repeat, and then repeat, and then repeat.
Yeah, man.
It was great.
It's the life of a musician. Yeah. I need some help. I need some lessons. Thailand is so international. There's people from like every country here. You kind of have quite a lot of freedom to people. It is an international crowd, and people are ready to hear all these like kind of eclectic different sounds from all over the world. So it's really nice like that. Actually, it's quite it's quite encouraging to to kind of expand your sound.
Yeah, a great place to dig for that is an event here called Ecstatic Dance, which is a sober dance rave.
Yeah, a lot of events.
With a spiritual tinge. And now phones aren't really allowed, but if you sneak your phone in, and you can go stand by the speaker and start shazamming stuff, and you're going to pick up a whole bunch of really interesting things that you would have like never found otherwise, without a lot of digging around. And touching back on the community aspect as well, like events like that, with the blend of the music and also with the friendliness of the people there, because that in itself is another one of these healing modalities, and it's one of the places that you really see the effect of music on people. It's a space where you go to dance for yourself. You're not really showing off. You're not really trying to dance for other people. You don't talk. You can dance together if you choose to. But some people just go and have their eyes closed for like 3 hours straight and just weave through the people, and yeah, it's that's a really powerful thing to see as a musician and as someone who's been obsessed with music for a long time, because I think you're getting a bit closer to the impact that music has had on humans for thousands and thousands of years when you go into a space like that. So yeah, that's kind of that.
No. Or no? Yeah? Okay. So it's recording longer videos than half an hour? Just take the headphones off. Take the headphones off. No, you take your headphones off. And then it's not recording anymore, is it? Or is it? He's trying to get the outtakes. You get Josh pissing. Oh, brilliant. That's one thing we didn't expect in this interview.
So don't forget your prayers, because the universe, it listens.